you!
1 2 1 2 1 2. Hello again everybody, this is Amorgin and you're very welcome back to another episode of Star Trek Fleet Command, and a very special day on the Founders server here guys, another one to add to the list of notable events. We have Hari Seldon here, Shady Raptor from HOM, better known to some as Raptor Jesus. Raptor has, he's caught Hari with the shields down guys, and Hari's a big personality on the Founders server. He's been quiet this last while, I haven't seen him around so much, but he's definitely one of these guys, lads, that no matter what conflict is going on, no matter how many wars they're involved in, he's part of ROG there. Hari's one of these guys who makes it very, very hard for you to dislike him. He's always keeping it light-hearted. He's got a good enough sense of humour and all of that kind of stuff that I'm pretty sure now that Hari, he won't mind too much that we caught this raid on camera, and he would certainly be one of the lads that would be deserving of a little place in the Hall of Fame when it comes to significant raids on the Founders server. Hari's been around a long time, and there'd certainly be some of the HOM lads would be very pleased at getting the chance to raid Hari here. Hari was involved in some of the other raids in the past on high level players and guys. We caught Hari part of the footage of other high level raids guys, go and check it out. And here Hari is now, one of the scalps that's getting taken. Raptor caught him with the shields down and the word went out and the HOM Boys rallied, and here they are. Most of this is being done on Irish time guys. I've done it on my phone. It caught me at an inconvenient enough time, so I had to record this on the phone and do the audio afterwards. But it's a pleasure to be able to bring this to you guys, and a shout out to Hari. There's no hard feelings in this, Hari, of course, I'm sure you know that. This is certainly one for the books guys, so sit back and enjoy it. I only caught about 30 minutes in total, but I think it's enough to demonstrate all of this new nice battle graphics and everything. It certainly makes the thing look a little bit livelier. We're looking at some of the guys' ships. There are Covorts here guys, there are Vaclas here, there are Horizons here, there's a whole range of them, might even be an Antares or two, and some of the heavy hitters out from HOM. Not much resistance in this battle. Here's Hari. Nice wee haul of trait there.
Oh God.
Another nice haul of titanium. And a wee peek here, I suppose, while we're at it. Darky came to visit just before this kicked off. So a wee shout out to Darky again for his visit. He brought his nice shiny motor to show it off a little bit. Not too many people have these augers. Certainly Darky's a lad you'd want to talk to if you're gonna invest in your auger. You'd catch him on Discord, I'm sure, if you reached out. But back to the raiding here guys. It's going in thick and fast. You know how this goes now. I've brought you a few of these videos. Go back and check some of the other high level base raiding videos guys. The HOM Boys have come in. This is a difficult enough system to do raiding like this in, because it's got a very small number of housing systems, and a very limited number of these housing systems here in Rator 29. So guys are travelling in like me from a bit of a distance away. It's taken up to a minute to travel in the horizon for me, but still a nice haul out of Hari's base. He was sitting on a significant amount of resources there guys. I'm pretty sure he won't be too pleased with it, but he knows how it goes when you're caught with the shields down. You need to get rid of those resources and dump them into your base progression or something guys. Or risk losing them. He's sitting there at a fraction of what it was. I caught this, like I say, I came into this raid a little bit late, and the guys are eating into him rightly with those faction miners and leveled up horizons. There's a whole raft of levels here in terms of G3 mining ships. Go back through the footage yourselves, guys. I've clicked on a few of them, different levels and strengths, if you want to have a bit more of a nosy and closer look at that. Certainly likes of Phil and guys like that are here, high level guys on ships that some of us can only dream about. And some of the ex-sword guys now are coming into HOM. We're strengthening up our numbers and our power. And this is a great exercise for the HOM and sword guys who have finally started to merge together more efficiently, and it's working well. All of this purple around, like I say, there's very little resistance there coming from ROG. Little bit disappointing, I guess, but makes it easier for me to record this footage because there's no little side battles really going on and nobody's in defending this base. Now, it's interesting enough in that Char and other ROG are in this system, but nobody turned out, but probably because of the time I recorded it, guys. Like I mentioned earlier, I recorded it on the phone. It was a bit inconvenient, but it was a good time for the Irish lads. Most of these are Irish lads here, with a few of the Aussies stuck in there for good measure. Been getting late for the Aussie lads, so some of them have sat up here to get a bit out of this raid, and why not? Because Harry was sitting on significant resources, tens and hundreds of millions of resources, and a very attractive target altogether. And once again, a well done to Raptor for catching it and cracking it and sending in his Sally to do the business. And well done to all of the other guys for getting the word out to the HOM Boys to come in and feed on this base. Some of our guys will be very pleased at this, like I said, because Harry has engaged in a couple of high level raids on our guys as well. But this is all nice and relaxed, guys, I guess, because bases are open season. We have an agreement with ROG at the minute that seems to be going pretty well, that we're not hitting miners. ROG are allowed to go out and mine, HOM are allowed to go out and mine, and we're not annoying each other's heads, but we are encouraging better shield management or resource storage in some cases from our players. Trying to get the general level of efficiency for the entire server up a little notch or two, whilst at the same time having a little bit of a break from all out bitter hostility. Everybody tires of that after a time. So I think it's working this way, guys. I think the rule that we've got, that you just don't touch miners once you're in an agreement with another alliance, but if their bases or warships are unshielded or caught out in the open, then they're fair game. Exploit the PvP element and hit them at will. There are a few alliances that aren't playing ball with us, but generally speaking, most of the main alliances are part of this deal, and I would argue that it's working well. So any of you guys that are watching, I'm hoping to set this as a premiere. So that would mean that as you're watching here, guys, and we approach the 10th minute or so of this video, we're not live, but you can interact and engage in chat there as though it were live. Feel free to leave your comments and your observations about this. Most particularly you guys that are on the Founders server, speak up there and let us know your thoughts on how this mining agreement, this loose mining agreement that we've got, how it's working, how you feel it's working. We've got other guys there. I might bring you a little bit of footage on it, like Triple H and from Can, and a few others, Solus, former HOM Boy himself. A few of them guys have dropped tags and are going out and they're hitting people, and they're part of small alliances that aren't involved in this deal, and they're hitting miners and they're doing all of that there, and it can make life a bit difficult. I believe Riddick is out there. A shout out to them guys. I think he's hitting ROG at the minute, so it's not all complete peace. There are players that just will never go with the status quo, and that's okay too. It's part of the game. But life is pretty reasonable at the minute. We've got this event going on, of course, for the USS Franklin, and we'll come back to another video on that very shortly, guys. I'm working on a couple of clips from the missions, and I might send Panic a wee email. I'm finding it very difficult to complete the PvE element of the blueprint event for the Franklin, so I might send Panic a wee email just explaining to him how difficult that is. I'd like to do a video on the Franklin someday, and maybe he'll help me out with some of those blueprints the way he has with other content creators. So watch this space for that, guys. I'll see how I get on with the event first. I'll take another rattle at it and come back to you guys with a video on it. And people like Billy have promised to come and do a wee commentary on how that event's going before it ends, so we might get a wee chance to do some of that as well. Right now we're back into this raiding of Hari Seldon. Now anybody that knows the relevance of Hari Seldon, they'll be familiar with their psycho history. I expect Hari himself to be well aware of what the psycho history is, and it's largely involved in the prediction of events. Now I suppose if you stay true to the philosophy, then Hari could never have predicted that we would raid him on this day. He couldn't predict necessarily that it would be HOM or any particular player that would be raiding him, but according to the rules of psycho history, I suppose he could have predicted that a raid at some point would be coming. So it's here, and psycho history wasn't too helpful in this event, and I'm sure Hari will agree. Probably not designed to deal with specific events like this, but it's great for me to be able to waffle on here and catch this for posterity at least.
Yes! Yes! Oh.
So a nice amount of titanium coming out of these raids. If I were closer and had a bigger mining ship, I'd have gotten a right haul out of that if I'd got on early enough to do this. But I've got a couple of different officer setups going on this horizon, so a wee shout out to the likes of Hotshot there, who has a Discord server for crew setups and has a channel specifically dedicated to mining ships and base raiding setups and all of that. So hopefully the lads like Greg or Hugo can look at these battle logs from the different officer setups, or anybody else that's out there that's interested in that kind of stuff. Tear my officer setups apart all you like, guys. Get in there and get stuck in and tell me what you think in terms of the logs and the different officer setups. I don't have the best officer setups. I don't have Can, for example, there to do base raiding, but there's a few different setups that I use here. Quite happy to hear your feedback on what you think works best. My personal opinion is that it's hard to beat Scotty and Uhura there. The repair times in particular with Scotty at the bridge. But let me know your opinions, guys, and as always, come into Discord, join me on Discord and chat a little bit more about this if you want. Leave your comments below when this is over, or like I say, engage in the chat there while this premieres. And don't be shy. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and all of that while you're at it. And show your support for the content creators generally, the guys that are putting in time and effort to throw together their footage on this. People are putting in significant time and effort, and it shouldn't be ignored, whether you like it or not, whether you like their content or not. This is all done for the community, and it's a resource to the community, like other things like L-Cars is and different sites there, guys. So check all of that out. Link in the banner for the Discord, guys, and we can redirect you to other resources if needs be, other videos and other content creators. And it's hectic enough here with this raid at the minute. Lots going on. These new battle graphics, like I said earlier, liven it up a wee bit, but also make the eye go a wee bit funny, a bit mind-boggling when you're looking at it. And repetitive enough still. I'd mentioned in another video that I would have liked to have seen the option of skipping the battle sequence and the option just of an animated replay if you want to see any of that, but this isn't too bad. It's better than it used to be, graphically and visually. And a beautiful sight. Looking at all this purple around. Very proud of all these HOM lads. got a wee bit of a feeling when I was recording this and I was looking at all of this, and especially even now looking back on it, a well coordinated attack from the lads, a well coordinated base raid in a difficult enough system to do this kind of activity, guys. Got a sense of like a pack of wolves there, each one knowing what they need to do. It certainly felt very smooth as I was involving myself in it. Of course, Harry the victim in this case, and our thoughts are out there with Harry. This isn't done to make anybody quit the game or anything. This is done partly for some as revenge, for the like of me, for entertainment, and posterity. But for others it's just an opportunity to feed and get resources, and that's all part of the game as well, of course. But some big hitters here, some big ships. And there's Taz. Taz is one of the guys, one of the lower levels. He's caught up rightly there, one of the lower level guys in HOM. He was away for a long time. He's caught up rightly there. He's not far behind me with that horizon. Taz always made me think of, because when he was the lower levels and he was catching up, he was like a bit of a terrier, a bit of a tyke. He was out there and he was always ready for a scrap, even though there was much bigger players in the alliance. He wasn't afraid of a bit of a scrap. So shout out to Taz and all the guys, of course. And some of the Aussie guys will have missed out on this. And some of the lads in there with their Vaclus. And like I said, check out the battle logs here, guys, at your leisure. Compare, if you like, compare with your own, and compare with other setups that I use here. And as I mentioned earlier, I came into this one a little bit on the late side. Because I was on my phone, I had to stop and start a couple of times and throw these clips together. So I hope this has been some sort of entertainment value to you. We have 5 or 10 minutes left yet, I would say, of it. Harry's resources are going down pretty fast because some of these ships have big enough cargo holds on them. It's a pity when we scanned them we couldn't see their full cargo hold and what's in it. We'll mess about with some of these officers, change them around a wee bit. We'll not bother with him. But this could be an interesting one. A bit of Odysseus on the bridge. So I'd be particularly interested when you get the log of this, guys. How do you think Decius worked out? In combination with other officers, would he be better? Is he useless in this altogether? Check it out, guys, and let me know what you think. You can see there, 40 odd seconds there to even get to that base. Would have been nice to be closer in on him, especially with that amount of resources that he was sitting on. You see Amorgin's out there in his Centurion off to the left there. So some of the guys have their warships out protecting the space, but no ROG have shown. I've been hitting my base. You've seen some of Darky's hits there, but I've been hitting the base a couple of times. But as everybody knows, I sit on very limited resources usually. These resources that I'm after taking from Hari, I'll have to protect them, use them or lose them essentially, because ROG or anybody else won't be long coming and taking them off me if I don't shield up. So in the absence of all of the bitterness, this will certainly improve the shield management on the server as a whole.
Oh. Oh, God.
And a nice lump of dilithium there. Now DC's ability kicking in quite a bit because of course the defense platforms will hit the ship multiple times. But I'm not noticing a huge amount of difference in the damage. Let me speed some of this up. Raids like this are essentially what I save my speed ups for. Any activity, or sometimes a bit of farming, but any activity where you're going to be damaging your ship significantly, that's what I save them speed ups for. Try not to use them willy-nilly, certainly not when the repair times are the way they are, and all of the giving out that's out there about repair times in general. And Shady got a nice spot there. Shady Raptor got a nice spot when he warped in there to crack open Hari's base. And it was just perfection that he cracked it with his Sally. When I got in there, I wasn't sure. Some people like to crack bases with battleships and whatever. But if you've got a decent enough ship of any kind, that'll do the job for you. And the principle's the same for all levels, guys. But this is how some of the longest players in the game. This is the oldest alliance in the game, raiding one of its longest rivals. And you'd expect this kind of rivalry to go on practically forever. There'll always be a friendly rivalry with guys like Hari, as long as everybody keeps it light enough hearted and takes it on the chin, which I'm sure he will. And a wee shot here, guys, of Sally is arriving. Sally is heading over to see Hari. So Hari's down here somewhere. And we'll pop in and say hi.
Yes!
We look at this wee log, and I think I've laboured the Meg Ryan piece enough at this stage. We might give you the wee taste at the end of it, but I think enough of that. We look at this last 455k dilithium. That's nearly 500,000 dilithium. That's an excellent haul of dilithium. And all in, I reckon I got about 3.5 million dilithium, 2.5 million titanium out of this raid in total. And you can see it up there on the top right. And a wee bit of lag just as I was doing this as well. So it's nearly all dilithium left. That won't be long disappearing with some of these ships going in. And mining ships up on 400k here. Faction miners. And an average 150 to 250k ECS horizons. And very few players below level 28, 29. So guys, we're coming close to the end here. So I plan to do another video on the event stuff. Maybe 2 of them, depending on how long that takes, because those missions are quite drawn out. A couple of other bits and pieces in the pipeline. Keep an eye out for that kind of stuff. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see more of that, whether it's Founder server shenanigans, or whether it's just more of this kind of gameplay, or whether it's kind of hints and tips kind of stuff. Keep an eye out for all that kind of stuff in the future.
Yes! 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 Oh! 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 Oh, God. Oh.
So Shane, guys, that's the end of Hari's base raid. I wish I could have brought us more, but that's all I managed to catch. So until the next video, guys, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Look out at the end for a wee victory dance from Phil, and I will catch all of you guys again very shortly. Cheers.